You're watching the opening rally here. Luis Moreno in the round of 16 up against the guy that beat him at the last tournament just a couple weeks ago in New York, Jonathan Iglesias. Luis Moreno here. Can't hear the score from the referee, but that's been sort of the thing here. But hopefully at home you can hear him. I'm reading lips and I'm getting really good at it. So far I've been told to go out to the parking lot. This is a different Moreno though. The one that lost in New York just was completely not focused at all. He lost to John Iglesias in a playoff match. But you're seeing a lot of shovel returns right now from Moreno, which is just not normal for him. But maybe perhaps he's coming in here just saying, I'm just going to play around, kind of get into the feel of this tournament.
1-1.
But one thing I can say about Luis as we welcome in John Bike into the booth again. John's pulling a 16-hour day today. The fact that Luis went back after New York and came down to the club and played handball every single day showed that he was more focused for this tournament.
Short.
Then he drew Paul Brady's bracket and Sean Lenny.
That's the most remarkable upper bracket ever, and that's too bad. The umpire, the referee anticipated the ball being short, but Luis's arm, he easily carried the line there.
Yeah, that's
the referee, based on his experience in power serving, said that ball that low is going to be short, but it was clearly good.
Well, the referee just worked himself out of the finals because this is what you're going to see here on the Pro Tour is guys that hit the ball just a couple inches off the front wall and they can just get it over the line.
Well, I was discussing that with myself in the first match when they didn't have linesmen. People don't realize this, but the early rounds in Indian Wells, they don't have linesmen either. It looks all fancy in the finals with their boots and their shirts and all,
right.
But it's hard to get linesmen in sports.
We want to welcome into the broadcast booth the guy who lost in his match against Emma Pichot, who somehow just keeps drawing him at tournament after tournament, Dave Chapman. Dave, I know that you're not going to dwell on the last serve that was called an ace from Emmett. It was short by about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches or so. But where are you at right now as you prepare for, you know, the national tournament in June in Minnesota?
Well, a little bit behind. My goal here was to win a round, and I didn't. That last serve was short. Whether it would have made a difference in the match, who knows, because he was still up by 5. But, you know, 1 or 2 calls sometimes make a difference, but I don't think that determined the match by any means.
Well, that's a different attitude from you. I think he was up by 2. You would come all the way back to 23 and put a lot of pressure on him.
Well, he was up 24-20.
But you made the run, and that's what he finally answered. You got up to 23.
That's true.
Check ball, please.
So you were right in that match. He played 3 beautiful rallies in a row.
4-1.
Except for the short serve wasn't as good as it. Officially, it was a beautiful rally.
Referee said it's just so hard to see it. And, you know, that is one of the new USHA rule changes, is that though the referee can actually, you know, go back and say, I have one guy that says he saw it, I have another one that didn't. Even though I didn't think it was good, but I also don't really know. I don't know if you've read this, but they have made a rule change there where the referee could say, let's do it again.
I'm pretty sure that's been the rule for a long time.
You mean 25 years old. And
no, they have actually a new rule change. I don't know if you read about this on the court shorts.
Because it's been the same rule since I've been on the Pro Tour.
If they're split, a referee can say, I'll just do it over.
Now you're going to make me prove it, and I didn't want to do that.
Well, you can prove
yourself
yourself wrong.
They might be putting paper to it, but we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a timeout right now. I'm sorry. It's a timeout, so we can actually look up a rule call. Or maybe we should go to the break and watch a commercial about a movie that we're not going to watch. Maybe that'll be better. Actually talking about the match. Dave Chapman, you're now going to get ready for the national championships. You didn't make the Players' Championship, and I don't know if that was necessarily a goal at this point anyway, but as you come back, you're getting back into ball. Are you playing locally? How are you preparing? What are you doing? What's your mindset?
Yeah, I'm playing locally, and I just got back from San Francisco. I played Emmett actually last Friday and Saturday at his home club, so I'm trying to get better matches and get more sharp. My defense is just horrible for me right now, so until I can start returning serve and pushing the guy in the back and not give him a big back wall banger, it's going to be hard for me to win.
What about your conditioning? Where do you think that's at?
I think it's about average. I wasn't tired in there too much, breathing a little bit, but I would recover decently.
Yeah, to me, that's what struck me. Everything you're saying about defense and all, it comes with,
All right, time in.
I mean, you need a noticeable improvement in your first step. The pro serve right now, you just, no matter how good your hands are, if you just can't get yourself in position, it's going to be an uphill battle. If you can get yourself in position, you'll be the best ever again at it.
Here's Moreno at 7-1.
But it's like getting a full step quicker, I'd say, to deal with that first serve.
This is a different Moreno. You can answer John here in a second. Different Moreno than what we saw in New York. You can just see it just immediately here.
His shots are more crisp than in New York. Serves are more crisp.
He actually looks better. I mean, dressed like he's at a country club.
Is that a referee shirt?
He's wearing a referee shirt.
Just saying, I'm in charge.
Look at that shot right there, dug out by Iglesias. You know, what can you guys explain about some guys don't do well with this elevation. Other guys just, it doesn't affect them at all. And I'm looking at Iglesias. He's running around the court, diving and getting balls, and it just doesn't seem to affect him at all.
It's definitely a factor.
It is.
But it becomes a factor, I think, later in the game than in the beginning. Because that you can't breathe as deep and you start losing your wind. But, boy, I mean, I remember playing in Denver with John, and I don't know if we were both in just good shape, but it seemed like we both were solid to the end. So I think if you're in good enough shape, the air won't affect you. But if you're a little bit out of shape, it comes into play.
Yeah, it might have been the best match I ever played. I didn't actually win it, but probably about as in your right.
3-7.
Pushing 3 hours. But we were there all week, though. I think you get used to it once you're there a while.
Just wondering if the statisticians have looked up that rule yet from the USHA.
Oh, no, I was told by Dave Fink that we have to focus on the match, and he's the coordinator of these broadcasts, so it's so great when I prove everybody wrong, but it'll be later. But I will blast it on Twitter and Facebook. We're at 7-3.
Point.
Great serve by Moreno there, right down the right wall.
8-3.
My recollection is the ref always had a final say, and the case David and I are making, we definitely would say replay on 1-1.
Both agree. Still a point. 9.
We definitely would say replay if we weren't sure and it was split. And a more extreme case of that is, I remember John Sabo calling a crack serve an ace and getting double overruled and saying, I don't care what they say, it was good.
Yeah.
So it pretty much is that's how it used to be.
Okay, it might be.
You show me whatever rule you want.
Right. No, it might be one of those unwritten rules that it might have just been called and they finally made it official. But I'm just saying that this was actually recently published, that a referee can go against his own call if he feels that he was kind of skeptical with his own call to begin with.
Big reverse, tough serve right there.
Dave, do you feel that these younger guys are playing with those reverse and naturals more than maybe when you were coming up to start the game? I mean, are you seeing it more from everybody, or mainly the reverse serve?
I see more hops from Luis Moreno than some of the other players. I mean, he hops the ball both ways with both hands during the rally, which I only remember Toddy being able to do when I was playing. But I don't see a lot of the other guys really using hops in the rally.
Now, Luis has, Dave, you don't have the, or excuse me, John, you don't have the luxury of playing him locally, but he has a serve that he serves left-handed, and he hops both ways, and it's absolutely amazing. But you just will never see him do it in a tournament for some reason. But that serving from the left with a reverse is about as good as anybody that's left-handed I've ever seen in my life. And it's just like 2 or 3 feet, but he just doesn't feel confident. Sometimes he'll hit it in the ground. Sometimes he'll check it up on that left wall.
See, if I'm him in any match I'm favored in, I wouldn't do anything crazy like that. But next time I'm playing Paul Brady and a little behind, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only time I would ever use serve with a serve with. I wouldn't use a serve with my offhand, but in that situation for him, it would be a good.
Maybe you should have today.
I should have.
12-5.
I mean, wouldn't it have been great there at about 20 to 23, just going left-handed with a
Lefty
little
natural.
reverse hook? Power serve down the left. Moreno at 12 to 5. Mondo Ortiz took care of Abraham Montijo today, 25 to 5. Abraham told me, I've just never played anybody like this ever. Just so focused.
Mondo looks good, and that brings up a good point. David, you cast a deciding vote in the Twitter contest for which match would be on
Sorry
the main
about that.
court, just by taking the
12-5.
court. And it turned out to be a good choice because Mondo was so dominant. Your match with them, it turned out to be the more entertaining one. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
'Cause who do you think in this club would just say, okay, David Chapman, you're going
Point.
to court too?
I don't know.
I don't think any, I think it was decided right then.
13-5.
That ball into the
Side
ground,
out.
you can hear it. You guys used to be big rivals, and now you talk like you're
5-13.
like good old friends.
We
No, we
talked
were-
like we were good
Short.
friends when we were
Yeah,
rivals
that's
too.
the thing. People would
Heels
just
the
say,
serve.
say to each other, I hate.
One
Yeah, we
disagrees.
had people thinking
One
we hated
agrees.
each other, but immediately after every tournament,
Second
we were.
serve.
Hanging out.
Oh yeah, at all times, and even immediately after, horrible, fierce, hostile matches. Yeah, that was definitely
Yelling at each
Point.
other,
On
yelling
the
at the ref,
court.
that sort of,
Oh,
gamesmanship
yeah.
and all
we-
that
we
stuff. You
did
guys
have
were
some of those.
13.
Yeah.
6 to 13. Iglesias, sponsored by Edel Handball, overhit from Luis. We see that often. And Dave, what can you attribute to
Point.
that when you see Luis overhit those balls that you're just wondering, how come he does it more than everybody
7-13.
else?
Well, he puts more power on the ball than anybody else, and you can't control that power 100% of the time.
Point.
So most of the time, he's got it under control and hits great shots down the wall. But he just, there's going to be 20% of the time where
8-13.
it's not going to be a great shot.
Short. Second serve.
Moreno just seems real relaxed in here right now, like no worries in the world.
Side out.
I feel he's more dangerous when he's like that because it's just, he has so much confidence.
13-8.
You have to remember, Iglesias just 5 points behind. Moreno looks like he's dominating.
Second serve.
Iglesias is a tough guy to play. Nice
Point.
left-handed kill right there.
Nice and relaxed.
Question was earlier brought up to John Bike that
14-8.
don't you feel that today's players have a little bit more defined left and right hands?
Point.
More, sometimes
3
when
minutes.
you're watching a guy like Luis Moreno or
is
Nikolai
15-8.
Nahorniak play, you can't tell whether they're left or right-handed.
Luis will serve.
Do you
when we
feel
come
that,
back.
Dave, you broke into at 17 and 16 and 15 years old, and now you're seeing the players here. Do you feel that there's a difference between today's player and when it comes to that ambidextrous sort of thing?
I mean, Vince had the great two hands. Nadi Jr. had great two hands. I don't see too much of a difference between the players. Maybe the players like you're talking about, Nikolai, who's a qualifier, and coming up, there weren't guys like that had two strong hands. But I think in your top
No, you
six,
disagree.
besides myself and John, there was
Okay. So
a lot of people had great offhands, offensive offhands.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just want to make sure. This
And
is
then
disagree, this
my,
is
my
agree.
answer was,
Some people
so
play that
which of
this
these
is
guys
bad and this
has
is
a better
good.
left than Toddy? And he didn't give me an answer on that.
No. He could
Does
have-
Moreno have a better left than Toddy?
Maybe Brady.
Do you think Moreno's is up there?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's real close. It's hard to say Moreno or I think Toddy was more consistent than Moreno with his left.
Yeah, Brady for sure. And he kind of, as he was physically developing, and trips over here, he kind of took us by surprise a little. When he started winning, all of a sudden he just had this very powerful left scoring pass shot.
This is a 2-minute glove change here.
Where's it halftime?
Halftime, 3-minute change. During that 3-minute change, Moreno taking the time to change gloves, and you have Iglesias who's walking up to get that ball. This is a one-game match to 25, win by 2, play all bad bounces. Stop at 15. What? What? Scoreboard sponsored by Edel Handball at
All right, Luis is serving.
edelhandball.com. Moreno back in the
Luis
box
with
here.
3
That's one of the
timeouts,
good things
tie
about
of 2.
Dave losing that
Score is
first serve
15-8.
to start the match. You always get the second one after the 15-point halftime.
Hold it. Screen ball. 2 serves, 1 screen. Short. Second serve.
I believe that Moreno's second serve sometimes is more dangerous than his first. He always has something a little bit different to offer to you. Then again, Moreno in practice is completely different than Moreno in tournament.
Good one-wall shot by Iglesias there.
8-15.
I call Iglesias, Dave, a fusion player. He's one of these guys that can cross over, and he looks good at whatever he does. He can play with the big ball, 1 wall, 3 wall, 4 wall, whatever you throw at him. He just has a good stroke. This is a big setup for Moreno.
Point.
It floors that ball on the ground.
9-15.
Let's introduce an amazing person. Likes to talk only positives about people. David Fink.
Side out.
Mr. Warren.
His new nickname is
15-9.
the Miser. David
Short.
Fink, the Miser, is into the booth.
Second serve.
Iglesias still, Dave, Fink making this a close match, even though it seems that Moreno's dominating, but Iglesias is playing hard, not giving up, and you have to respect that.
John is a very scrappy player, and he can hang around in matches.
15-9.
Catches you off guard also.
Short.
He's able to do a lot of things that you
Second
don't see
serve.
from most guys, and that's from his one-wall background. And of course, Jonathan beat Luis last time they played, which was last month in New York. One of only 6 guys to beat Luis Moreno in race play.
Hold it. $15-9. Short.
We've been stuck at
Second
this score
serve.
for a few minutes now.
Hold it.
Seeing a lot of replays.
A lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the ref needs to step in
15-9.
on every one of these plays where there is some congestion. That's an
Point.
amazing ace from Luis, but you know, a lot of those shots are coming off the back wall, or there's just nothing you can do
16-9.
with them anyway. Big setup here.
Point.
Great pass shot. John's played now 3 hard matches, this being his 3rd today.
17-9.
He was tired in that match against Marcos Chavez.
I love
Side out.
Jonathan's return to serve, Dave. He uses a one-wall kind of a underhand paddle, and he's really got a great defensive return to serve
9-17.
down both those walls.
He's very good at not giving setups on the return of serve, and that's really your goal.
And it's tough
Point.
against Moreno not to give a setup on the return to serve.
10-17.
You're not seeing the guys on this court really use the back wall as an offensive shot
11-17.
like most courts we've seen over the season. The back wall is really strange. It's got different dark glass, and then there's a white surface in between.
I don't got a
So
ball
you
here.
kind of lose it a little bit, even at this level. Glass doesn't generally bother top players, but I think on this court it does. I'm seeing the ball close to their bodies and not really setting up and firing on the shots.
What's interesting there is that it's like 3 or 4 different color changes, and it's kind of, you know, just like a lot of landscape changes for you as a player. You go around that revolving door and you've got dark, light, dark, and it's interesting in that back, I guess you would say left corner. It's just something, it's not a dark hole, but
It's just weird.
Different.
You
It's
go
different.
back there and you try to guess where it's going, but you lose the ball in there, which is really strange.
It doesn't seem like you
for
should.
me.
That's the weird thing.
Doesn't seem like you should.
I think that's what gets you, is that you just go back there confident you're going to see it, and you never do. And then when you do see it, you're seeing a shadow or an echo of that ball coming out. From it's so light in the court. It's something weird going on. Very light in the court, dark outside.
And one of the things that players like to use as the excuse is the glass. Well, the glass is the same on both sides, so that excuse just doesn't work.
What I can tell you here that I find just really odd, and we play in concrete courts back in Tucson, and I know in St. Louis you probably have the concrete courts, but back here, ball hits the walls here. They just seem to be jumping off, and something about that back wall, not on this show court, but if you play in another court over, off to the side, the back wall is very strong, one of the strongest back walls that you play on. And I think the glass back wall is the same. Just comes off harder than you expect. Now in New York, as you recall, the show court was very soft on the back wall, so you have to make these adjustments.
17-11.
That was a 3.5-minute timeout to get a new ball. Both players waited for the referee to walk downstairs when the tournament desk is literally right outside the door.
Well,
that caused 2.5 minutes of the delay.
I think you do the same, to be honest. This elevation is just really making it taxing for the players.
Hold it.
Oof. Iglesias not even trying to get out of the way.
$17-11. Short. Second serve. Check ball, please. Replay.
The ball's a little squirrely right now. You can hear that it's not quite warmed up. It's got sort of an odd bounce. It takes about 5 or 6 points before the ball settles in.
17-11.
You can even hear the sound. Not quite the same.
17-11 is the score in the booth here. Dave Fink and Dave Chapman. You guys used to be best friends. We have 3 Daves in this booth.
John goes with the pre-dive there. He anticipated Luis's corner kill and just didn't quite get himself up to that ball.
18-11. Check ball,
And that's the
replay.
second time that John has hit Luis on that revolving door shot. Frustrating because those are big setups. It should be side outs for John, but instead he's giving Luis another first serve.
18-11. Short.
Smart of Luis to take away the right corner, forcing John to go down the left side, but John hasn't made the adjustment.
Since 9-5, the scoring's been just off and on for both of these guys. It's just been pretty much an even par type battle. And if
that
it
was a great reverse down the left. You talk about using the hops during the rallies.
Yeah, you're right.
Dave, and that's just an example of a two-way shot. I mean,
but earlier he took the same shot and used a natural hook. That time he reversed it away, and that's the thing. He just seems to know when to do it when you're thinking he's going to do the other way. You have to really pay attention to when you're playing a guy like Luis Moreno. Just watch his hand. Now, and talking to him locally when we play down at the club, he says, you need to watch what I'm doing. You need to watch my hand. You hop the ball. You know what you do when you hop the ball. You need to watch me hop the ball. I'm asking him for advice. This is why he's telling me this, Dave. But, he said you need to pay a little bit more attention here when this is going on.
I don't know if you can necessarily read it or not.
It's
though.
tough. No, I can't personally read it, but I don't. A lot of guys can't read it, but that's not the point. It's happened so fast. He hits the ball 90 miles an hour. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to read a guy spinning over the top of a ball from that angle.
I think you just play Luis's tendencies more than anything. There's certain shots that he hits, and you know it's coming.
Yeah, but he did it just a few minutes ago. He did it with a natural hook with his left. This time he goes with the reverse. It just completely made Iglesias look like he's never played handball.
I think you can always adjust to the natural when it bounces into the sidewall, but you have to play for that reverse because if you don't, the ball's gone.
20-11.
Remember,
you
Luis
just can't get yourself too close to the ball is the thing.
serve.
If you get too close, then the hop plays you.
Yeah, but what about the ball going away from you?
I don't think it's big enough to where it's going to hop away from you if you're on your toes.
That's an amazing left-handed kill.
That looks
from
so.
Luis.
He looks really
incredible.
good right now. We saw Paul Brady watching Luis play, and he said, I've got.
11.
He's more worried about Sean Lenning than he is worried about Luis Moreno. He said, I'm Sean Lenny, and I'm rooting for Cordova right now.
One of the things that makes Paul so great is his humility. He takes every opponent seriously and doesn't take anything for granted.
Well,
he goes into every match like it's a World Championship final.
He's not happy about playing Nikolai Nahorniak. He watched how Nick played Moreno in New York, and I know you hate when I talk about other matches and not this one, but Paul told me that he didn't like Nikolai Nahorniak in his first round match, and I said, it's just random. This is a random thing. He said, this guy's a beast.
Well, Nikolai only scored 4-1 on him at the Nationals, but Nikolai said in his bio that's who he's looking forward to playing.
Well, that's not a good sign for Paul, because Nikolai seems to deliver when he says those things. Iglesias goes for that strong arm down the left wall, hits the ball into the ground. Inside out punch and doesn't quite make it, frustrated with himself.
11.
Strong arm.
Not a good serve there from Luis.
Up next, since we're talking about Paul Brady, he will be playing Nikolai Nahorniak on this broadcast. Thought that was short. Chapman, I'm not sure if you saw that, but.
No, I didn't.
That was a great adjustment from Luis. That ball popped out. Looked like Luis was going to have to just float that ball back, but he adjusted and actually hit a winning pass shot.
Point.
Little frustration there from John. Drives the ball into the ground.
22-11.
John told me earlier that he's playing every day at the New York Athletic Club. He's back living in New York, and he's really motivated. Plays with Vlad Klim almost every day, or practices by himself.
Short.
That's good to hear. He's back into it seriously.
Yeah.
Second serve.
Sometimes the results don't always come with all that practice, but usually in time, you see some good benefit.
Point.
That's an amazing shot.
Well, Luis is clearly a different person than he was in New York.
24-11.
Remember almost losing in the first round
Short.
in New York to Nikolai, trailed 17-13, and then did lose his next two matches.
Second serve.
Dave, you just missed that, but that last short serve is Luis's new put away, and he double faults here at game point, match point, but his new put away is to go down the right and reverse it away.
11-24.
In the old days, remember, he used to come down the middle. Now he's going down the right.
Terrible serve from John, but he still wins the
Nice
rally.
ball, thank you. Point.
If you're going to serve down the right, you better not clip that side wall unless it stays down. I just punched it in, Dave. The computer tells us that John Iglesias has a less than 1.5% chance of winning this match.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. Based on the score and who he's playing.
Computer also says that does not include injury. So.
Actually, it does.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it actually does.
I guess I read that wrong.
Yeah. It's factored in the amount of times Luis has had to forfeit a match because of injury.
Which is never.
Yeah. And that's it.
Nice match, guys.
Percentages are almost always right.
25-12, Luis Moreno takes down John Iglesias. Now advances to the round of 8, and we have another round of 16 selective match that we have going on with Paul Brady up against Nikolai Nahorniak. That one's going to be next. We want you to stick around for more handball action as we bring it to you live here at racefor8.com coming up.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on. I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay. All right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.